of all, I think your analysis was very straight line. History doesn't run in a straight line.
Kid, you cannot tell your neighbor he is stealing ducks when you are stealing fowls.
As High Commissioner, I was wrong. As Charandas Prasad, I reacted naturally how any person would have.
I did not come here for that kind of abuse. I did not come here for that kind of abuse. If you're going to go down that road, I'll walk off.
But it's all okay once they're talking. If they were talking, I could not have been here today.
You got ADHD.
I got
that. Calm down.
I think I've done enough in terms of taking our team out of trouble from losing.
Come on, Lou Taylor. That's good. I'm reading the script now, and the first person that comes to my mind to play a detective,
yes,
but an erratic detective, is Mikhail Rodriguez.
Why an African slap an Indian? Why a man and slap a woman? Look, how you deal with that? You deal with that.
We must encourage platforms like this because it brings together different people and allows for discussions to take place in our country on a multiplicity of fundamental issues.
Gildarie, you apologizing for something you think I did is wrong. I don't want you to do that, and you should not have done that. You're watching the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show. Welcome to the show. We come to you 3 times a week in the evening hours, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Leonard Gildarie took ill late this afternoon. It's suspected to be either dengue or a bat flu or COVID-19, but we will know from the tests results tomorrow, so he would not be here. We hope he improves and he's out on Monday. Once again, based on where you are on the globe, it's good evening, good night, good afternoon. If you're in London, it's good morning. I think if you're in India, it's good afternoon. So this is the Freddie Kissoon Gildarie show, or the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show. The local government elections for 2023 has just been concluded, and we have 2 persons in the studio that is quite invested with the experience and the knowledge to talk about that recently concluded poll. First is Michael Carrington, who actually contested as an independent body, his group, in the elections. Mr. Carrington is no stranger to this program. This is his 3rd appearance. He has been a parliamentarian for the Alliance for Change 2015-2020, and long before that, he has been a national executive member of the AFC. I don't know what is his present status with the AFC. He will probably tell us that. But his purpose here tonight is to analyze the recently concluded LGE. Next to me is Gobin Harbhajan. Mr. Harbhajan held the very important position of being Prime Minister Nagamutu point man for Region 6. In addition to that, Mr. Harbhajan, under the coalition of PNC AFC government, held a number of positions on different boards. I can remember him being on the Guyana Post Office Corporation Board. Both of them tonight will give their own thoughts about their political future, what's their relation to the political sphere, the political community in Guyana, and also what they thought of the local government election results 2023. For my thoughts on it, my interpretation, my analysis is that it was a breathtaking election result. I don't think any other local government election has generated so much interest. The results, that is, has generated so much interest as this current year. And the reason for that is because I think of the very, very strong showing of the PPP and the losses suffered by the PNC. Now, that needs some brief explanation. The PPP retained its physiology, its biology, and anatomy in its traditional strongholds. The PNC did not. And when we come to discuss it, somewhere along the line, you will hear how much the PPP gained, how much the PPP lost. But by any stretch of the imagination, the LGE 2023 has been the most talked LGE for a very, very long time. So, alphabetically, we go to Michael Carrington, and then we will come to Gobin Harbhajan. Now, for the usual protocol. Michael, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Freddie, for having me here.
Gobin, thanks for being here. Michael, my first question to you is small parties and independent candidates didn't do well. You want to talk about that, or you want to talk about something else?
I can talk about that. First, Freddie, the small parties and independent parties is running against a government in Guyana. A government with all the financial resource to fight the smaller party. It was intended since 1980 under State Paper 4 of 1980 that they was to put laws in place where parties that in parliament, government parties, do not participate in local government elections because they already win central government, they already win regional government, and then to have them participating in the lower tier election where you have president and ministers and parliamentarians campaigning for their group in local government election. In my belief, that the parties that hold seats in parliament should not take part in the local level of local government election in terms of campaigning for their people. But the reality, this is what we have here today. It was never what you call a proper competition. This is the first thing. We had a situation in Yarracabra. I established a group under the name PDM, People's Development Movement. A small body of people and had no finance. We had a situation 1 week before you have election, you have a money over $8.5 billion payout across this country in terms of the children fund for the school. That normally pay out till next month when school near to close. But you have that money pay out 1 week before election. The second thing that happened in our village, they promised but 2 months or 3 months before that we will have some roads in the Yarracabra. The week before the election, the government came in and was handing out contracts for $1.3 billion in that village. I, as a politician or a small politician, will consider as vote buying. I will consider that because if you declare that you will hold election in 3 months, government should not be running in to spending all of those big money right away or promising those big money when the government is taking part in the election. It's an unfair competition for the smaller groups. I would like to see in the future smaller group must be able to be raised. Either you put some financial system in place that they will have the money through the state to operate and to run the group, or the government should not. In my opinion, government and any people that have seats in parliament should not be lobbying because they already have their status for the lower tier. The lower tier people must fight and win the election on their own. They mustn't win the election because of the top brass that you have that's spending a lot of money for getting the party recognition. Because you are really running on the party slate. If you run by yourself, many times you wouldn't be able to get a vote. People don't vote for the individual, people voting for the party at most time. So I will consider it, while the election was good on that day, I'm telling you the election was free and fair, the counting and everything in our village was perfect and good. But the lobbying, the spending of billions of dollars of money, or proposing or telling people that how you will spend that money when you are campaigning for your party, I think it's totally wrong.
All right, before Harbhajan comes in, before Gobin comes in, I think there are some areas of debatability. There are some areas that are controversial in your delivery that you just made. One is that under the Commonwealth system, historically and up to now, ruling parties take part in local government elections. The Conservative Party, which is the ruling party in the UK, got a good chunks in a few months ago, in which Labour took some traditional Conservative seats. The ruling parties in Commonwealth countries in our own region take part in local government elections. So I don't think Guyana is unusual in that respect. Secondly, I am a bit hesitant, I think more than hesitant, to accept the argument that incumbent ruling parties, I don't want to say government because that's not legally the right term. The governments and political parties are different. Political parties control government, but governments don't run elections. Government don't fight elections. There is always, and I don't see Guyana being an exception. I think it's just a natural impulse on the incumbent when they elect, when there are elections, to do their thing. Now, I think your contestation is that these things come very close to an election. But if you argue, Michael, that the incumbent has the advantage, then how do you account for incumbents losing? The APNU AFC lost some seats in the 2018 election, in which the PPP increased its strength in 2018, and the AFC PNC was the government. Mia Motley won an election in Barbados against the incumbent that lost all of its seats in parliament. If one argues that an incumbent has an advantage, then if that is taken as a theory, incumbents should never lose elections. We can come back to that and I can get your response. But I do believe that when opposition parties lose election, they inevitably point to the government doing things. But I suspect that all governments have to do things. They have to build new schools, they have to give research grants to the universities, etc. Do those things count as an advantage? I will hear Gobin start on that and we could come back to that. But Gobin, your thoughts on the results. You are not in Georgetown, you don't live in Georgetown, you're Bobby's based at number 63 Village. What your thoughts on the final outcome?
Right. That's number 57 Village, Freddie. That's a correction there.
Okay.
In Borbies, like Carrington said, the election went smoothly, where groups, individuals, the two political party, all was a major player in the local government election up there. And They all, we don't have any major problem there. The result, I believe, was fairly delivered, and based upon what I read in the media. I want to back up a little bit what Carrington said just now, that he believed that the two major political party in government, Carrington, you and I came from AFC. We were with the coalition from 2015 to 2020. APNU AFC contest, local government election. We had this discussion at national level with some executive. The same sentiment you share now, I would have shared the same thing, that local government
should be local.
Local, right? But we were there, and the APNU AFC run together 2016. In 2018, AFC went by themselves, APNU went by himself. Lawi, for knowledge purpose, what's happened out there? The political parties is the same as a group of people contesting. The constituency rep may use the logo of the APNU AFC and run in a community, but it is the people at the local level democratic right to pick a leader in the village to represent them, but they may happen to use the APNU AFC logo, or APNU logo, or the PPP logo. You have member of parliament and both sides was on the ground. So they support the constituency rep because they are from the party. What we have GCOM, which we allow GCOM to get away with not give people the knowledge out there, the importance of local government election and who should contest and what they're voting for. I think they have a budget. They should be more knowledge, share some knowledge out there. Unfortunately, I don't know of any independent group or independent individual won any seat across the country. I may hear something at Rosal here, but I'm not sure. But I know 2018, a couple of them would have picked up some seats. Unfortunately, in 2023, they all came up short. But I don't think it's a money spent or budget out there that we go fix street and everything. It's government job, NDC and RDC job. It's politics, and the political parties, a group like everything else, they're gonna pitch in a few things here and there to get done and the right timing. But the people in the community, if they're not knowledge of what the local government election about and who will represent them, well, then one should not blame the two major political parties. I want to add in that, Freddie, that when in 2018 the AFC had decided, just like what Carrington said, look, we are going to jump alone. East Berbice Region 6 was a very, very strong base for the AFC. And I only think they won 2 seats in the NDCs out of the 300 or 200 something councillors. Now this politician or anyone up there, then when we were in government, look that, this is the wrong way because local government, I didn't know about it until 2016 and 2018, and then the PP government run this one. It's a very important election for local development because we have 3 competent. We have central government, regional, and local. And this is now people for the first time is having a chance to exercise that for the past 3 local government election. But political party is no exemption from contest a local government election, because regardless which one go in power or which one go in power after, they will jump. The opposition did that too. But in this local government election, there are some good things came out of it. Regardless who's celebrating victory, I think the PPP would, based upon what they start do in 2020 to now, remember I was the Prime Minister rep in East Berbice. We had a chance to prove to the people what we could have done. The infrastructure, most of these votes, what they have in Amsterdam and other municipality, if you look at it, the PPP came in by a few seats. For the first time, they came in with a few seats in the stronghold of the APNU. Now, one can argue, like you said, the by votes or however you want to put it, but with all the flood relief, the cash grant, the school vouchers, people at the time, because we went through a COVID phase, people at the time maybe look at that and say, you know what, the coalition was there, now we have the PPP. But if you put a balance with the two government, with the APNU and the PPP, the PPP outweighed it. So we can't just wanted to blame that they should not participate or ministers should not go. Ministers in parliament is constituency representative too. And you were a member of parliament, so you represent the constituency too. So you got to go in your village and promote your party or your representative there, because that's how you end up in parliament.
If you remember, if you clearly remember what Kissoon asks about. Kissoon asks about local and independent group. What you had a local government election which two old party war against and actually shut out all the local small groups around, because their battle is over 50-something years. They fight and they will continue to fight all the time. And that shut all the lower party. They basically was in the whole image of the local government election. So you have
the two big horse.
Yeah, the two big horse. So you have like central government and the main opposition fighting each other for local space, which shut out all the other smaller groups that around the place. So the smaller groups could not have compete against the two bigger horse.
Well, when you finish...
So my thing is that there is an advantage, and we must accept it. There is an advantage where the bigger parties who control parliament, the people in whether it is opposition or government, participate in these local government election. It will shun all local people that are around. It's very hard, because in Guyana there's a culture where people basically vote for the party. So a person even know that individual, they never even talk to that individual inside the community. But they will vote for that party because the individual, the party name is where the individual is. So they're not voting for the individual, they're really voting for the party. And I have a problem. Years now, I argue with AFC many times. I said, we need to have a local government system where central government do not dominate. Because they have central government dominating the government. They also dominate on the regions, in some of the regions. And now the lower tier election, they dominate, so they control everything. So when they sit at the top, they pass directive to all the smaller people. They got to go their way. All the small councillors or whoever is elected have to listen to central government, what they say. Most of the time it happens. So we need to have a better system where the central government would not usurp or direct the local government. It's supposed to start from the bottom to go to the top. The people in the community decide on what they want. They submit it to the region, then the region submit it to central government. This is not how it's supposed to work. But you're not having that. You're having central government coming in your village, a local government authority, and start saying that we're going to build this road, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, without any discussion with the council. Not a single discussion with the council to find out what the council want. I am seeing roads building at about 14 and 16 feet wide, and 2 trucks can't pass. They have to come off of the park pit to pass one wheel, or if a vehicle stop here, the other truck can't pass. Somebody got to come off of the park pit. The local people must be able to say exactly what they want, but at the present moment, all the directives for the community come from the top, and that is not no local government.
I have been beaten to the coalition and the APNU for years now, that every 10 regional district have APNU councillors, APNU RDC councillors, APNU NDC councillors. So if I would agree with you to some point. If that's happening, where is the APNU councillor voice and say, well, hello, we don't need this street, we need X street. But if it pelted on central government coming in and fix street, well then what you're trying to say is, so the local NDCs and municipalities failing?
He's saying that they should consult.
They should consult
He
with the
said when they
local
come in-
authority.
When they come in, they should consult.
Consult and have discussion.
But central government
Don't
has
operate
the
that
money.
way.
Central government has the money and also has the obligation to build roads in people's area.
No,
They
no,
can't-
no,
can't-
Freddie,
they
Freddie.
can't call it.
No.
You can't say
Freddie,
it's a-
Freddie. There's a local government authority in an area. For instance, when the government came in the other day to give out those contracts, the first people they're supposed to approach is the local government authority to discuss the matter. They came in our village and they had not discussed. Same day that they came in the village, it's the same day they're telling you that telling the chairman for the village that we have a meeting in front by a shop to give out contract. It is happening over and over, and those things need to stop. You need to have cooperation. We country lack of total cooperation. If you're in the government, you're talking to the opposition, or the opposition not talking to the government.
It doesn't work how you...
No,
Okay, you have an RDC with a works committee.
Yeah.
The region has a works committee with engineers. If a minister or an agency who builds streets and roads, remember, you have to go through your RDC. They have a works committee, which tear down to every NDC have a works committee. So what Carrington is saying that they just come and identify, no, it has to, they would have checked with them and see some of the street was proposed in a budget. Remember, you have a yearly budget. And maybe that the timing, maybe I could agree with you that when they do it, but they will not gonna left central government and they're gonna go fix the street without not consulting your REO, your works committee. Remember, the works committee make up of both political party or independent seats. They have to come with that program because that's how the budget roll. Central government can't go to 63 Beach and say, well, we're going to make a street without not consult with the NDC and the RDC, because that's well not in the budget. So where they going to take that from? The region has a big budget. So the government is consulting.
I could understand the inbuilt disadvantage a small party or an individual candidate has. And that goes all over. But I think there is a missing link in Michael's presentation in that there is a crucial structural difference in central elections and municipal elections. In central election, there's a misnomer, there's a misleading thing about our constituencies. You know, our central elections have 10 regions and then the top up. But there's a difference, a crucial difference with local government election, that you actually have in local government elections something called first past the post, in which there are constituencies and candidates from those constituencies that people know can vote. Now, some big guy, some big minister, some big billionaire, you know, may not be at the advantage because of his resources from government or his own money in a constituency. There may be a very popular doctor, there may be a very popular playwright or novelist that the community knows very well. Look, I remember in London, I can't remember the name of the gentleman. I know his sister was married to the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, the famous global personality, Imran Khan, the famous cricketer. That guy is a multi-billionaire. And in the fight for the mayorship of London, a Muslim man beat him. A Muslim man by the name of Khan. Now that guy had so much money that he could have poured into the election. I don't want to take much of your time. This is your program. But how do you account, Michael, for the fact that what money did the government spend in Constituency 1 and Constituency 4 that could have caused those two constituencies to be lost by APNU. The current mayor lost his constituency and the deputy mayor lost his constituency. Now, if you're saying that there's a deluge of spending and it affects how people vote, surely you have to show examples where there was no big government spending and yet people lost the election. And I think constituency 1 and 4, what big government, the billions of the government put into Kingston, Sabayanville, that caused people to vote against the mayor? I think I've taken up too much of your time. Go on.
You know fully well, Freddie,
Yeah.
that they do not have to spend any billion in that Kingston or Sabayanville to pick a vote. One of the major problem that we had here, I would not blame the PPP because we know that they spend a lot of money on unfair competition, but one of the problems that you had is...
But governments don't have to spend money anyway.
No, governments spend money. For instance, they spend the cash grant when they normally spend it next month, they spend it before the election. And some people call it sweetener. You give the people the money before the election, hoping that some of them will say how they're going to vote for you. Going back in terms of what transpired in the local government election, I can't complain. I will say that we done well for a group that just started. I done well in our community, in our area, and I like what take place. And we will go again in 2026 for the local government election. We are not going national, strictly local election, because I'm working for the development of my community. Although we had not picked up a seat in our community, we will still work.
Tell our viewers what your community is.
Haruni Yarakabra local government community.
Which region?
Is in region 4, is on the highway. Is a new NDC which I was instrumental in terms of having it established in 2018. And that's after I go through some documents when I was a parliamentarian, and I saw that Tamiri, Moblissa, and Wayakabra areas, local government area, designated local government area since 1990. And I asked Mr. Bulkan to establish the two NDC up there in 2018, and he established it. As a matter of fact, I had asked Gangak Prasad and Whitaker since around about 2011 to have the NDC established.
So Michael, I don't want to.
Let me go back to the voting. There were some problem and some mistakes, political mistakes that the opposition made. Over the years. The last couple mornings from since 2020 election, they were a big cuss down about GCOM and GCOM operation and the fraudulent and all kind of big cuss down. And both of the party, the AFC and APNU, had told the people that they are not going to the election. And the election will be fraudulent. They will have a lot of fraud. We have to have a new voters list. And they keep banging that in the people's ears. As long as you keep banging that in the people's ears, the people will lose trust in the system. As long as they lost trust in the system, when you ask them to go out, they would not want to go out because they feel that they will be robbed. And a lot of people lost confidence in the system because of the rhetoric of both of the two AFC and APNU. I told them I say you can't destroy GCOM and expect your people to come out. You need to go to the local government election. I call on them very early to prepare and go to the local government election. In the last moment, before the election, but 2 months or 3 months before the election call, then APNU decided to go to the election. AFC had decided they're not going at all. And I say that I will establish a group because we cannot allow, if both of you two is not going to the election, then the PPP win Yarakabra without an election. They win it automatically. So I said, we need representative, even if it's 1 or 2 seats on the council. So we established the PDM and we decided to go to the local government election. In Yarracabra, APNU had 5 seats. 5 seats they had in Yarracabra. But that time it was an 8-seat council. But after the PPP called the local government, before they called the local government election, they reduced the seats of Yarracabra from 8 to 6. So that they could capture, there's the only NDC in Region 4 that now have 6 council seats. It was 8, which I feel totally is a discrimination. It should have remained 8 seats, but they reduced it so they could capture the village. But they did capture the village. They ended up with 5 seats.
But Carrie,
listen to me again.
People have to vote.
Yeah, we understand that.
Easy. If
but
you reduce it from 8 to 6,
but
people
you
still have
listen to
vote.
me. Listen to me, Freddie. I know your stance, but I want to tell you plain. You cannot give an area 8 seats, and because you are a government, you wanted to win that area, you reduce it from 8 to 6 seats. You cannot do that without consultation with the people. There were no consultation with the NDC. There were no meeting in the village talk about reducing the seats. The local government minister just wake up.
Is
and
the government or GCOM?
No, the local government minister.
No, GCOM has nothing to do with boundaries.
Yeah, the local government minister, I had wrote in the papers concerning it. I wrote GCOM concerned, and I feel that it's an unjust move.
GCOM would be part.
Yeah, GCOM afterwards, they said that how the local government minister didn't have the authority, then they dance wrong it, and they bring it back the same 6 seats. Now, if it's 8 seats, you have opportunity for 2 more councillors. But when you reduce it, you reduce the opportunity. You know, so...
No, but I still don't buy the logic. Whether it is 8 or 10 or 6 seats, you have to appeal to people to vote for you.
We understand that, but if you have 8 seats, you have a greater opportunity than if you have 6 seats alone. For other smaller party, even if we win on the leftover votes.
It doesn't necessarily, the two don't add up.
You may say
but other NDC area beside that one.
Other NDC area that had reduced the seats. Yarracabra, let me tell you, Yarracabra.
Of course, we haven't heard the explanation.
Yarracabra is a big fight for Yarracabra. Matter of fact, the Silicon City will go, I think, at the back of Yarracabra. There's a big battle for Yarracabra. Well, the PPP won the area. They won 5 seats. APNU get 1 seat now. They moved from 5 to 1. We barely missed it. PDM. I have in my constituency, I got 90 votes, and which was good because it was more than APNU votes. The person who had APNU, they had far less votes than me. So I was happy with it. I must thank the people of Yarracabra for giving me the support. I must thank them from the people from Haruni for giving Murray Greenwich some support. They didn't win the area. We didn't win the area, but we have reasonable vote. What I wanted to see is a level playing field where local government is concerned. That's why I bring up the topic, because I think this lady was Crystal Reed. You should know her.
Crystal Reed?
Yeah, was she
former ambassador and former
right. But she had made if you will find State Paper 4 of 1980, she had made the recommendation that the government, people who are part of Parliament, should not be participating in local government elections, should left for the local group. And it was I think I discussed it up to the other day before the election with Mr. Alexander. So if you continue an election, local government just as how it is here, you will always have the 2 major parties warring against each other.
I don't agree with that.
I know you might buy it, but that's my position.
That position is too deterministic. You reduce people to a level where they can't make choices.
Freddie, you win Parliament, you win all the seats, you win in Parliament, you win a region, and then you want it as a government to take all the local. It is not right. Let the local people decide that.
It's throughout the world.
I know it happened throughout the world, but I don't say it right.
No, it doesn't say it's right.
But the people have the people have the final say, unless the mindset of the people willing to vote.
The people need to be really educated in those particular areas.
I throw it back at GCOM for not roll out that initiative to educate people. I want to talk about there is a speculation and there is word out there or well, there was a small turnout. Freddie, small or big turnout, the PPP contest actually every NDC and municipality. A party biggest APNU, like Carrington said that they were if they're gonna go or they're not gonna go because of list. A party biggest APNU, and represent actually have the people in this country in parliament only contest 45% of the election. And then you have AFC on the other hand.
Didn't contest at all.
Now you're talking third force, they're beating it. Now, if from 2015, you run 2016 election, 2018 election, 2020 election, you don't see a problem with list, you were fighting for the house to house. But then your other partner, APNU, decided to contest certain municipality where the stronghold is. And by doing so, the AFC is like a slap in the face because you said the list is good, and I see some of the MPs from the AFC was campaigning for the APNU. So how they're claiming that the list is all helter-skelter, and yet right now you have some APNU supporters in different regions is celebrating victory. Well, you may be celebrating victory. You was always winning the tongue. Those tongues are municipality, but the PPP penetrate and snuck out 2 or 3 seats here and there. Party like AFC, I don't know what they put in out there. I'm a former member of the AFC. We've been Carrington. I don't know his position now. I resigned from it because the whole thing with AFC was misleading. Right now, the out there, I don't think people, who thinking about third force will ever think that direction again, because AFC had an ample chance, maybe 2025, they would be a main opposition or something different. But right now, anything come out of their mouth, I don't think people will trust, because they, as a party who've been around household name, did not contest the local government election. And then you have groups like Michael Carrington, who was an executive member of the AFC, went independently on contest, and you have some of them on the and Borby, some of them vice contest. So those guys see it differently. So you come back to
I will always try to encourage local groups.
Yes,
a lot of local groups across the country. They need to people need to get up from wherever area they live, form little groups and contest the local government election. Long as they contest, they will hold the power of the area. If national government control your area, national government hold the power of your area.
They have local contestants, local citizens and small groups have a very priceless opportunity in going on the national stage because of the nature of local government elections. I do not have a MP constituency. Just for the record, the legality they say from Georgetown to Cummins Lodge is this MP's jurisdiction. But you actually have a constituency in local government election. I remember there was a guy living in my area, Brian McIntosh, well-known Portuguese activist. He contested in his area. So you're saying that, I don't think anybody will disagree that a country needs localized people to run their authority, etc. But I believe there will always be a disadvantage if those local people do not have the resources or devote the time to let me give you an example. In my area, PPP people came, and PNC people came. The guy who was contesting the election came. There was a doctor who was contesting in my constituency, and I never saw. The people never saw him in our community. We saw Minister of Housing, Rodriguez. We saw a very well-known PNC personality named Hines. He's a singer, and he was there, and they were saying, "Hi, Freddie. I didn't see the doctor." Now, some of those things have to be factored into the analysis of why some of these candidates, these third, fourth candidates, and individuals lost.
Freddie, some person who had decided to run independently maybe would have think that Carrington, look, we have a disadvantage, but they may not be a member of APNU or the PPP, but they went along with the logo. That's where I wanted to. I know guys in Berbice who did, look, I'm going to run with the PPP logo for my constituency. But they meant well for the community, and the people, they went out and reached them, but this has happened to be they run with the PPP logo. But it was an opportunity, if they felt that they was have a disadvantage, you know, they could have go either way.
And they win, right?
And they win. But
they win.
But the same thing like Freddie said, if you have a guy running and he have this X amount of money and he want to go independently, if you not market yourself properly and get into the people head to let them know what you will do for them, because if you look the small percentage of turnout in this in this local government, it's not because the people didn't want to come out and vote. They felt that the government of the day is already, you know, looking after things, and they run the NDC, so they felt to stay home. So it's not like they didn't like the government, but in the general election, they all gonna come out. So this whole thing about that, oh well, the people turn away from the government. You know what happened 2018 and 2016, so they will turn away from us. AFC only get one seat on the quarantine. So that does it turn away from the APNU AFC? Then no. So the perception out there is like to look at the local government, Freddie, and look at the good side of it. Regardless what the people look in the towns and the municipality, and the PPP again want to see there, they maybe do it in two ways. One, because they see development and infrastructure thing done in more, or they get the confidence in the government compared to the APNU, or people say, you know what, this is time now, we bridge this race gap, and we because a lot of people vote vice versa, and I see this is how you promote one Guyana rather than keep the race thing all the time and the division.
Let me just
sure.
answer. You said just now that you have some people, where is business people, they run on they may not be PPP, but they run on the PPP.
Or APNU, vice versa.
Or APNU slate. And if you check those constituency, those people win the election.
Some lost, some did because it was
but what I'm saying, if Longzee is a PPP stronghold, and you run on the PPP, you will win that stronghold. If you're in the APNU stronghold, and you just come in, anybody just come in, and they run under that APNU logo, they're going to win that stronghold. Because people is not voting for that individual. They're voting for what the major party they normally vote for put forward.
But you have constituency.
We understand. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about.
A very pronounced medical doctor, our lawyer who...
Show me which constituency. How much constituency in Guyana that a local group or an individual won in this local government election?
This one here?
Yeah, how
well,
much?
You can't.
2018.
No, 2018.
This election here.
No, but you can't use this election. You got to do it in a comparative context. Bench Up and other people won independent in 2018. No, you have to look.
I think it was 2016, 2016?
2018 by
2016.
Yeah,
2016 Bench Up won. But you have to look at you have to look at the dialectics. You have to look at how how society moves and the circumstances that reshape society. In 2023 election, Guyana had some very, very troubling, disturbing times that could have influenced people. And also there is an oil economy that could influence people. I don't want to take time in expanding on that. But Michael, you can't deny that what happened in the past may have
affect the minds of the people.
I think one of the things that have devastated people's psyche in this country is the collapse and the deliberate evil descent of the Alliance for Change when it had risen and have given people hope. Now, in your opening statement, you talk about the hegemony of the central government. They spend money. But third parties and individual parties may have been blown away by people's psyche that, look, I don't want to hear about a third party. I don't want to hear about individual. You know who was the AFC? And people win the election. Moses Nagamutu's prime minister, and the whole thing collapsed. And you must see that could have effect on why people like
the 2020 election had damage.
Don't forget, Michael Carrington.
Yeah.
You were a member of a third party that was in government and really disappointed the world. Not Guyana, the world.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know,
That 2020 election was totally destruction. It destroyed a lot of people's mindset. A lot of people even can't understand up to today what really takes place.
I think the AFC's performance really destroys people's faith in anything that comes out and challenges the PNC and PPP. They say that. Because that, you were there, you were in the thick of it. I campaigned in 2011, 2015 for the AFC. What I saw was what was happening in the 50s when I was born with Jagged and Burnham. What was happening in the 70s where everybody was clamoring for Rodney. In 2011, 2012, 2014, people were clamoring for the AFC.
Freddie, as a former treasurer for AFC in Berbice and APNU AFC treasurer for Berbice during the 2015 election, after what happened in 2020, I can tell you, Berbice was a stronghold for the AFC since 2006. All those people, it was Carrington can tell you, it take us months, years to convince them to stay with the AFC. Then the Cummingbergs Accord come. I was there, you was there. 2015 February, the only body walked out of the room, and I can mention it was Dr. Ramaya, and he walked out. He didn't want to, because that was a blow from then on. So the people's mind was starting to scatter who was supporting the AFC. I can tell you right now, the people who were supporting us or who was voting for us, that was a big voting block in Berbice, all gone back to the PPP, and the few gone back to the PNC. How you get them back? The people head is gone.
I want to put him under the spotlight because many of his colleagues were here sitting in the same chair. Those same chairs. I can call them Leonard Craig, Virginia Bissessar, Gobin Harbhajan, and a few more who have said, look, the AFC did these terrible things. We have broken with them. I want to ask him if he don't think that the people of Yawakabra knows that he was the AFC. He never came out and broke with the AFC when they were in government. And like Leonard Craig, like Gobin Harbhajan, like Williams, like so many of them, Odwin Rutherford was here. Those people have broken with a party who almost broke Guyana. And I want to ask Michael if you don't think that the defeat that he had in his area is, people say, Carrington, he was now with the AFC, and I see he denounced them or gone over or anything. You don't think that played a part in your defeat?
I don't
think so?
I don't, in our area, I don't think that played a part in our area.
People don't know you were with the AFC and the AFC
know me
failed.
With the AFC, the votes that, listen to me.
Carrington, you're a nationally known person.
Right, the people know that I'm the AFC. They know that all the time. They know that from since I landed in that village in 2005, I work for that village. I work seriously in terms of getting what that village get. We were able, within that 5 years, they able to have primary school, there's the secondary school which is building now, the road, extension of water, electricity, but $1.3 billion over a period of a 4 to 5 year period that come into that village. People know Carrington as the AFC. Now, basically, they know me that out in the village, they call me now PDM man. because we established our own group already. I did not, as I said the last time we went here, I wanted to see a third force in this country. I do not want it to see a two-party state. A two-party state, you always have a winner-take.
But you had a third
But we had a
force.
chance.
We had a third force, but they messed up. I could tell Kemraj and
but
all
you're
them,
still
they
here.
messed up. Party rise and fall all over the world. All over the world.
We
You
have a
agree with
small
me?
we have
You
a small
agree with you?
population.
Some
though, so-
party in government, they're out of government. India, Pakistan, whatever country you think about, it's always like that. Some leaders do shit, but the people don't just run away because the leaders do shit. They get rid of them. They get rid of bad leaders and they try to bring the
But they
party
also
back up
form,
there.
no. They also break with the past and form new parties.
Yeah, they do that. Like what
They also break with
like how
past.
I start my own thing, start our thing up on the highway. People asking we to expand, but we say we're gonna work on the Yarkabra NDC area because we are looking into strictly
But what-
development.
The operator told me we have 5 minutes more. I want to ask you guys to comment on unfolding Guyana, because Guyana seems to be unfolding. Michael, you first. You don't think that in Guyana, now I am saying this and I would not be apologetic, because I think this is the way I see it. I don't give a damn about, this is my country and I know its citizen. I know Freddie is a PPP, Freddie gone over, Freddie must be getting
Soup
something.
drinker.
Those things come with the territory. So I think from the Chedi Jagan premiership in 1957 to now, I am seeing some unfolding directions that makes me feel that Guyana will do good in the future. And I think President Ali doesn't come across as a mediocre wayside president. He comes across as a man that's very innovative and transformational. And you don't think that may play a part in this election and may play a part in future central and local government elections? After you,
as long as you have good behavior and good things done in the country, the government of the day, if you have a good opposition, the government of the day will excel. Guyana, I will tell anybody, Guyana is going to be one of the richest country, and it will be a good country to live. A good country. But still, the people of Guyana, got to put a check on our leaders, our politicians. If we sit back and allow things, you will have all kind of problem in Guyana. A problem is brewing that people may not take notice of it. If a certain amount of people seeing that one set of people is looking like if they are taking over every single thing, you will get a rebellion somehow or the other. It mightn't be a big, large group.
That will happen in any country. I'm not seeing it here.
Yeah. So we need to have this country in a way that everybody in the country feel comfortable. And politicians need to be truthful. A lot of times politicians lie to the people. Politicians need to be truthful. The present budget is 160% higher than the last APNU budget. So the government have to do more. It's $400 and something billion more than the last APNU budget. There's a lot of money. So the people need to see those blessings coming to them.
No,
When
it's not 400 billion.
APNU last budget was
our present budget wasn't 400
man,
billion.
listen to me.
It was
listen to me.
400 billion.
Listen to me, man. The last budget for APNU, I think it was 300 billion, 700 million, something like that. This present budget this year, 781.9 billion.
Almost $1 trillion.
Billion, almost $1 trillion.
Sorry, I thought you were saying it's a...
So you have the government present PP budget is 160% more than the last APNU budget. So they have to be doing well because of the oil contract, which everybody cuts down, oil contract, but still they end up with over 400 and something billion dollars more to spend. So I would like to see the money that come in the future, that people get the blessings like what's taking place in Kuwait and what's taking place in some of the other countries. We don't want people to be pushing money, all the money, you push it in projects. People need to be paid. public servants need to be paid. All those sweeper cleaners and all those people need to be paid a proper salary. At the present moment, a lot of people even can't buy milk for their children sometimes in the week. They can't. I'm telling you that with a big budget like we have here today. Kissoon, I am telling you, if you go in certain areas, people even can't buy milk for their children.
You can point that out in almost every country. You go to United States and you see people that are starving.
A country
but it's
with
not a pattern.
You have a country with three-quarter million people.
No, Michael. I live in this country. I live in this country.
With nearly $800 billion spent.
I live in this country.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that's a pattern. Yeah. That would be, anyway, the
all
operators again signal to me.
Sorry about that.
You want to have your respond to that thing before we go?
I want to just give my final word in this local government election, and a broad-based one, that councillors who would have been elected and voted in to represent your NDC and your municipality, as one Carrington would have said, over $400 billion. Represent your people. Look after the interests of Guyanese. We don't have a productive opposition in Parliament. I don't see a productive opposition in Parliament. I'm going to call on councillors and municipality mayors across Guyana. Work closely with your community, reach out to the people, see what's affecting them, talk to them, take it to your NDC or RDC, to central government, get things done. The people elect you. Don't let them down. That's the only way we can move Guyana forward. That's my message, and I hope that councillor, if you know you're not going to perform at your NDC or your municipality, please step down. Don't be a bench warmer. Give somebody else a chance to serve.
Thanks. Our time has run out on us. In case you just joined us, our guest was former parliamentarian for the AFC, Michael Carrington, and Prime Minister Moses Nagumutu, special appointee to Region 6 Berbice, Gobin Harbhajan. I'd just like to remind you, I forgot in a couple of shows to tell you, I am doing a daily column for the Chronicle. You can get it in the printed edition or you can get it online. Just go to the Chronicle online, press the tab that says opinion, and my name will come up. I've been doing a daily column almost 6 weeks now for the Chronicle. Just in case you heard that, please pass it on through your Facebook, because people have been asking me, when are you writing again? Well, for the past 6 weeks, I've been writing again a daily column. It's always enjoyable talking to Michael Carrington, who I believe is one of the most fiercely independent-minded politician this country has produced, and at heart, a very good man. I'd like to thank Gobin Harbhajan for once again staying in touch with me and traveling from Berbice to this show. He has to go back to number 57 Village this evening. We will be back on Monday, which is a special program, a very special program on Monday, because it marks the anniversary of the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show. So look forward to something different. It was nice being with you. It was nice being with Michael Carrington and Gobin Harbhajan. We will see you on Monday. Hopefully Leonard Gildarie would have recovered from either dengue, COVID, or the flu. We wish him well, and there wouldn't be a Freddie Kissoon Gildarie show without Gildarie. We hope we see him on Monday. Thanks for being with us, and as I would normally say, bye-bye, catch you later.